Hello everyone, I am Deep Patel from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. As you all know, we were discussing about the chapter number 4 and that is the properties of steam. And in the properties of steam, we have discussed some important topics like the steam generation and the calorimeter. In the last lecture, we have discussed about the two types of calorimeter. First is the throttling calorimeter and second is the barrel calorimeter. Okay, now we know that the calorimeter is used to measure the dryness fraction of the steam. But there is a limitation of the barrel calorimeter that if the temperature difference is more, then that barrel calorimeter cannot give the accurate value. Also, in the throttling calorimeter, there was a limitation that if the dryness fraction is too low, like zero point 0.6 or zero point 0.5, then the value of dryness fraction cannot be accurate. Okay. So, these are the two limitations of the barrel calorimeter and the throttling calorimeter. So, in this lecture, we will discuss about two other calorimeter. First we will discuss about the separating calorimeter and second we will discuss about the separating and throttling calorimeter. Okay, so let us start with the separating calorimeter. Okay, so first of all let us understand the components of the separating calorimeter. So from the figure you can see that there is a one main pipe, main steam pipe. So from the main steam pipe the steam will be enters into the calorimeter. Okay. Second here is the control valve. Control valve is help to control the flow of steam. Third, here we have put perforated tray. So in the perforated tray there are the tiny small holes is generated. Okay. So third component is the perforated tray. Now after that in the perforated tray there is the inner chamber and second is the outer chamber. Next in the left hand side of the perforated tray there is a measuring scale. Okay, and one is the water level indicator. Okay, so from with the help of measuring scale and the water level indicator we can understand how much amount of the water is present into the inner chamber. Okay, next here bottom you can see there is a barrel calorimeter, one tray and the weighing platform. Okay, so we know the application of barrel calorimeter. In the barrel calorimeter the steam is condensed and after condensation we measure the weight of steam and then we can get the value of the dryness fraction that we have already discussed in our previous lecture where we have discussed about the barrel calorimeter. Okay, so the bottom part you know what is the application of barrel calorimeter and how it is operated. Above the barrel calorimeter we have provided one inner chamber, one outer chamber, one water level indicator. In the water level indicator we have provided one scale to measure the water level and we have provided control valve and the main steam pipe. Here in the right hand side we have provided one pressure gauge, okay, to measure the pressure of the entering steam. Okay. So these are the components of the separating calorimeter. Now let us understand the procedure. Okay, so we know the calorimeter is used to measure the dryness fraction. Okay, so here you can see that when the wet steam is coming from the main steam pipe, it is enters into the control valve and then it is enters to the perforated tray. So the control valve is helps to control the flow of the steam. So we can provide specific amount of the steam like 1 kilogram, 2 kilogram, 3 kilogram, etc. Now what happens here? Here the steam is coming from the main steam pipe to the perforated tray. We know that on the perforated tray there is a small hole is generated. Okay, so what happens? In the wet steam there are some molecule of the waters and some molecule of the steam. So what happens? When the steam is directly hit to the perforated tray, because of the weight of the water particle will separates in the perforated tray and the steam particle will escape out from the perforated tray and it will going surrounding the inner chamber. Okay, again I am repeating it. When the wet steam is hit to the perforated tray, in the wet steam there are water particle and there are steam particle, but we know the weight of the water particle is more than the weight of the steam particle. Okay, so we can say that the inertia of the water particle is more than the inertia of steam particle. So what happens when this wet steam is heat to the perforated tray, the water particle will goes into the inner chamber and the steam particle having the lower mass so that the steam particle will escape out from the inner chamber and it will going to the surrounding of the inner chamber. Okay, so this is how water particle and the steam particle are separated in the perforated tray. Okay, so this is the fundamental of the separating calorimeter. This you have to understand, that how the steam particle and how the water particle is separated in the perforated tray. Okay, so ultimately what happens? In the perforated tray, the water particle is separated, so that water particles goes to the inner chamber and it will rise the level of the water in the inner chamber, and that rise of level we can measure with the help of the water level indicator, which is placed in the left side. Okay, now the steam which is escaping out from the inner chamber is entering to the barrel calorimeter. Now in the barrel calorimeter we have provided some holes in the tube. So what happens, from that holes the steam is coming into the water. Okay, after that what happens, the steam will supply entire heat to the water and it will condense. So finally what happens, the steam will be condensed in the barrel calorimeter and water which was separated, it is enters into the inner chamber. Okay, so the level of water we can measure with the level of water level indicator. Okay, so here you can understand that there are two masses. First mass which is separated in the inner chamber, that is the mass of water, and second mass which is escape out from the perforated tray and it is enters into the barrel calorimeter, that is the mass of steam. So here we can measure the mass of steam with the help of this weighing machine. So we have now two values, one is the mass of water and second is the mass of steam. So with the help of these two values we can measure the value of dryness fraction, as we know that the equation of dryness fraction is equals to mass of steam upon mass of water plus mass of steam. So we have both the value, mass of steam and mass of water, so we can easily measure the value of dryness fraction for this separating calorimeter. Okay, so this all the procedure is given here, that the some amount of the wet steam is passed in the sampling tube through the main steam pipe, and then this steam is strike on the perforated tray. So on the perforated tray the water particle is separated and they will collect into the inner chamber. Okay, and the remaining steam will be passed into the barrel calorimeter. The quantity of steam which is condensed can be measured by with the help of weighing machine. Okay, so we can measure the dryness fraction of the separating calorimeter as X is equals to Ms upon Ms plus Mw. So we have already measured the weight of the mass of water and mass of steam. Okay, so we can measure the value of X with the help of separating calorimeter. Now there are some limitation of this separating calorimeter. So the separating calorimeter gives the approximate value of the dryness fraction, because here we do not have accurate value of the mass of steam and mass of water. Okay, so we can measure the approximate value of the dryness fraction with the help of this separating calorimeter. Okay, so we have discussed about total 3 calorimeters up to this. First was the barrel calorimeter, second was the throttling calorimeter, and third is the separating and throttling calorimeter. But this all 3 calorimeters having some limitations. Okay, but and with the help of these 3 calorimeters we cannot get the accurate value of the dryness fraction. Okay, so to measure the accurate value of the dryness fraction we have to use one another calorimeter, that is the combination of separating calorimeter and the throttling calorimeter. So let us start understanding the combination of separating calorimeter and the throttling calorimeter. Okay, so let us start. First of all, we know the component of the separating calorimeter and we know the component of the throttling calorimeter. In the separating calorimeter where there is one inner chamber, and in the throttling calorimeter there is a one thermometer and the water is present into the inner chamber. Okay, now we know the fundamental. In the separating calorimeter, the water particle will be separates out from the wet steam and then the dry steam will be escape out. Now in the throttling calorimeter what happens? After the throttling process, the steam will converted into the superheating steam. Okay, so this both you have to understand. Okay, so let us start. Now from the main steam pipe the wet steam will become, okay, and the amount of wet steam is controlled by with the help of the control bar. Now from the sampling tube the steam will be enters into the separating calorimeter. In the separating calorimeter there is already perforated tray is placed. So the wet steam will be heat to the perforated tray. So the water particle will be separate out in the separating calorimeter and remaining steam will be going surrounding the inner chamber. Now from this surrounding, the steam will be enters into the throttling calorimeter. But before entering to the throttling calorimeter, there is one device which is called the throttle valve. So what happens here? The remaining steam will be goes to the throttle valve and then it will enters to the throttling calorimeter. So what happens here, the enthalpy will remains constant, because we know that in the throttling process the enthalpy will remains constant and the temperature will remains constant, but pressure is reduced because of the throttling process. So we can say that in the throttling valve, before the throttling the pressure is P1 and after the throttling the pressure is P2. So here we can say that the pressure is reduced, okay, temperature will remains constant and the enthalpy will remains constant. Okay, so after the throttling the pressure is reduced. Now this pressure we can measure with the help of this manometer. Okay, so this is the manometer through which we can measure the pressure in the throttling calorimeter. Okay, now this steam will be circulated in the throttling calorimeter and the heat which is available with this steam is taken by the water and ultimately the temperature of the water will be raised. That temperature we can measure with the help of thermometer. Okay, so now you have to understand that here in the combined separating and throttling calorimeter we will get two values of the dryness fraction. First value that can be measured by the separating calorimeter, that value is x1, and second value of the dryness fraction that is measured with the help of throttling calorimeter, that value is the x2. So with the help of x1 and x2 we can get the final value of the dryness fraction and that will be the accurate value of the dryness fraction. Okay, so let us start. So this is the procedure. Some amount of the wet steam will pass in the sampling tube and then the water particle will be separated in the separating calorimeter. After that the steam will reach to the throttling calorimeter and in the throttling calorimeter, because of the throttling process it will converted into the superheating steam. Okay. Then the manometer will be used to measure the pressure. Now we know that the dryness fraction of the separating calorimeter is x1 is equals to ms upon ms plus mw. Okay, this is the dryness fraction of separating calorimeter. Now second we know the dryness fraction of the throttling calorimeter, that is hf1 plus x2 hfg1 is equals to hg2 plus cps T superheated minus T saturated. How this equation comes we have already discussed in the throttling calorimeter. In the throttling calorimeter the enthalpy before throttling and enthalpy after throttling remains same. So we can take the value and we can write this equation. Okay, so we have both the equation of x1 and x2. Okay, so with the help of this x1 and x2 we can get the final value of the dryness fraction. Okay, so we can say that if x is the initial dryness fraction of the steam, then the water droplet in the steam in the sample we can say that 1 minus x into ms plus mw. Okay, then the water droplet which is separated in the separating calorimeter is equals to 1 minus x into the total mixture. In the total mixture there is a mass of water and mass of steam, both will be present because in the separating calorimeter there is a wet steam. So we can write the water particle which is separated in the separating calorimeter is equals to 1 minus x1 in bracket ms plus mw. Next, water droplet which is separated in the throttling calorimeter is equals to 1 minus x2 into ms, because here the water is separated in the separating calorimeter. So the steam which is reached at the throttling calorimeter is only dry steam. So here you can write 1 minus x2 into ms. Okay. So finally we can say that the total amount of the water droplet is equals to the amount of water droplet in the separating calorimeter and the amount of water droplet in the throttling calorimeter. Okay, so we can write that the total amount, that is 1 minus x into ms plus mw, is equals to 1 minus x1 into ms plus mw, that is the water particle which is separated in the separating calorimeter, plus the water particle which is separated in the throttling calorimeter, that is 1 minus x2 into ms. Okay, so from this equation we can get common ms plus mw, then we can write that x1 equals to ms upon ms plus mw. So we can replace the ms upon ms plus mw as x1. So we can write here the equation as 1 minus x is equals to 1 minus x1 plus x1 minus x1 into x2. Okay, here we have replaced ms upon ms plus mw as a x1. Okay, so after putting the value, we can get x equals to x1 into x2. So this x is the dryness fraction of the combined separating and throttling calorimeter. Okay, so with the help of the dryness fraction of separating calorimeter and the dryness fraction of throttling calorimeter, we can get the value of combined dryness fraction, that is the value of x. Okay, so this is the accurate value of the dryness fraction. So this is how we can measure the quality of the steam from the combined separating and throttling calorimeter. Okay, so this is what all about today's lecture. Thank you for today.